How do I get back my creativity when all I feel is dead inside?
Yeah. And I guess the first thing I just wanted to say is just I want to acknowledge your courage for sharing this, because I think a lot of people may feel similarly, and just to even describe it as dead inside, I think, I think it says a lot about what you're going through. So just acknowledging the courage to share this question, and I'm also sorry that you're feeling this way, and I think it's something that's really important. So happy for you. I'm so happy that you started this conversation. I would focus on the feeling first. I understand you want your creativity, but we've got to look at the feeling. Not just because I'm a psychologist, like it just is important. Feelings will influence everything. So I'd encourage you to explore sort of and to understand what could be causing that feeling of dead inside. That could be due to feeling overworked. Are you burnt out? Are you lonely? Do you feel lost, lost community, no purpose, hopeless? Just having more of an understanding of why you might feel this way can really help manage the feeling a little bit more and look at solutions. I work from, I'm not sure if anyone's aware, I'm going to assume nobody knows this, but it's called polyvagal theory, and it's really about understanding the nervous system. It's a framework that looks at the autonomic nervous system and how it influences our emotional and behavioral responses when we perceive a safety as well as perceive a threat in our life. So you would have heard of sympathetic system, the fight or flight. So it's related to that. And basically, I'm not going to tell you go on a whole big, education thing here. I can if you want. I love this, but I won't. And I've got resources if you want to. I've got like a folder of all the things. But just to summarize, there are 3 states that you think of, like our nervous system is like a ladder, and there are 3 states in that ladder. And the bottom is called dorsal vagal, which is something where we feel really hopeless and depressed and numb or dead inside. That's where I would kind of place that. I'm purely speculating in this case. I don't know exactly what you're going through, but this is what I'd say in a general sense. You're at the bottom there where you have, no energy, feel nothing. There's just that numbness. And then the next one up is the sympathetic, the fight or flight. That's where anxiety is, more anger, you're mobilized. While the bottom one is immobilized. And then the one at the top, sorry, I'm jumping around, is more, it's called social engagement or ventral vagal. It's basically where we feel quite grounded in ourselves and connected to people. The last 2 states are in survival states. So we only really go through them or experience one of them if we perceive or have a real threat. Doesn't know the difference between a perceived or real threat. You could get an email from your boss and now your nervous system thinks you're under threat of survival. So it's important to kind of be aware of that. But I think the main thing in this sense is when we are creative, say you're in the survival state, so you're either running or fighting a threat, or you are shutting down because you can't get away from a threat. There is no function to be creative in those states. So creativity is only possible if you're in a present, mindful, grounded state. And that's why I talk about looking at the feeling first, because if you're in that space, you're going to try and force creativity, and it's just going to be impossible. And you're going to feel like a failure because you're not able to do it. Focus on the feeling first. Try and work through the feeling first. Sorry, this is long. I tried to summarize it. Okay, keep going. I've come up with just like a few things to try. So I think the first, just the solutions, I wrote a few things down. As I said before, you can't really force creativity. I'm sure you're all aware of that. You've tried. So if you're in that shutdown state, your nervous system is telling you that you need a break. So I'd allow for some sort of rest and recovery as well before you start working on moving up the ladder, like I said. Numbness, if you're feeling kind of dead inside, for me, it would be like a numbness is another way I'd describe it. I'm not sure if that resonates with you, but that's how I'd describe it. It's usually protecting us from some sort of uncomfortable emotion as well. So I'd encourage you to try and connect to that feeling through music, through journaling. Try just feel something, anything else, because numbness is like it separates you from what actually is going on. So just anything that you can try and overcome the numbness with, like music. And then once you've done that kind of process, I did encourage, and I don't know, Renee, you probably have more stuff to say here, but I would say with creativity, I mean, it depends on what you're meaning by creativity, but I'd encourage some sort of engage in some sort of medium and just doodle. Try not to have a goal or an achievement that you're trying to focus on. Try and just be in the moment with it and just start playing with stuff. the playfulness that you can try and incite is something that will help you move up the ladder into a more present space as well. So maybe, is there something that you used to enjoy doing as a child? Did you really love coloring in, or did you like Play-Doh, creating things? Try and do something tangible that and for no reason. So you're not feeling like this pressure to perform. I would encourage that playfulness and just experiment with that. Change your environment, walk into the other room, go for a mindful nature walk as well. It just helps you to get out of yourself in some ways as well. And it helps you to connect with something outside of you as well as bigger than you. And that can often inspire a sense of awe, which moves you up the ladder again. You're out of that survival state. Try and connect, gently with somebody or softly with somebody. When I say gently or softly, I mean, you don't need to like directly engage with somebody, but just connect with somebody that you feel safe with. And if none of those really are helping, there might be a deeper issue, and maybe to just seek support from a therapist. That might be the final thing to kind of, or you could start there. You could start there as well if you want. But I'd encourage a few of those things to try and get that back.
That's brilliant. I'm reading through the Science of Happiness at the moment, and a lot of that stuff is in there. Like when you're feeling those feelings, you've got to find something in the present.
Yeah.
And like name it even, or find ways to go, oh, that's what that is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really great. Renee, anything to?
So comprehensive. The only thing I would add is at H&Co, everyone that starts, we do a HBDI profile for. So your learning and communication preferences, and everyone has a different shape, and we do it to kind of help demonstrate that everyone is different, everyone has different strengths, everyone communicates differently. But one of the amazing things it also shows you is what preferences you have under pressure. And very few people go more intuitive or more into the creative realm under pressure. So people go either analytical, give me the facts, or process driven, or emotional. So I think just being aware of the fact that creativity doesn't, to your point, Sharon, live in a space of must have idea. Like if you put yourself under that pressure, that's the last thing that will come. So I think being really aware of the space that you're in, particularly if you're trying to be creative, if you're feeling under pressure, trying to break out of that space and kind of refresh, reset your environment, all of those wonderful tools. Creativity doesn't thrive in that space. So, be aware of it, I guess. But obviously, great, very thorough response, Sharon.